Hello everyone, my name is Mandy. As you may have noticed, DC is a rather complicated comic book, with some subtlety when it comes to the little details. This is why Fu LL thought it would be interesting to launch this format to explain. First of all, Chapter 1, what you had to see, what you had to remember, the important points, etc. This format is reserved for those who have already read Chapter 1 of DC. The video contains spoilers, and if you want to avoid any revelations, I advise you to read DC first. In the very first image, we enter Lucien's bedroom. Well, anyway, you can already see the poster on the wall and the plants. The poster depicts mushrooms. Doesn't it seem strange to have plants in the bedroom of an 18-year-old? It's a slight clue to what Lucien is. It's like it's there for a reason. Strange, isn't it? This is a clue to the following chapters, giving a foretaste of what's to come. A little further on, page 21, we find Jis, who exclaims and says Lida, which doesn't seem to be a mistake. It must mean something. The pronunciation of Lida and Linda is similar. Linda hasn't noticed that with the noise the machines make. The next page, page 22, Jis asks Conrad to go and see the chief, but doesn't talk about it afterwards, as if a secret is hiding between Conrad and the camp leaders. Then, on page 37, Jocelyn tells Jis that there was a problem with the camp management, and that they left quickly. Yet just before, Jis told Conrad to go and see the chief. It seems strange, but Jis says nothing, and neither does Jocelyn. Linda's presence prevents them from speaking freely. So the chief mentioned earlier has nothing to do with managing the camp. In the next scene, from page 39 to 52, Jocelyn talks to Linda, and so begins her role. Jocelyn, as you probably know, is part of the organization, and gradually begins to condition Linda as soon as she arrives. On page 67, Conrad returns at last. He was looking for Lucien for a job he had forgotten to do. Yet we don't see any discussion between Lucien and Jis, as if they'd spoken before the story began. Conrad tells him they must do it together, but Lucien refuses and wants to do it alone, as if he's hiding something. Right after the scene between Linda and her father, Conrad confirms Jocelyn's strange idea. We see Conrad and Jis talking about something where Jis says, "Not too much, okay?" This once again confirms the idea of a secret lurking between Lucien, Conrad, Jocelyn, and Jis. Then, on page 138, Conrad wishes to speak to Lucien privately and asks Linda to leave. Conrad talks to Lucien about Jocelyn's idea until page 145. Conrad approves the idea, which logically shouldn't be the case, so he must be involved in some way. Then we see Linda, Jis, and Lisa talking. It seems our heroes aren't the only ones involved. Linda's pretty naive. Even too naive, don't you think? More or less approves of the idea, as if she'd already been conditioned to do so. The scene with Lucien and Jis, up to page 240. It's clear here that Jis is involved. The idea of the camp is to test the families. If the camp management has left, the camp is run by an organization outside the government. But who are they? Scene layout is designed for situations when you need to add an over-the-shoulder video. The scene from before to page 292. We see Jis taking Linda to a machine linked to a kind of server, as if to implant, verify, or modify something. It seems unrealistic, or at least not their first attempt. This organization really wants to do something. Until the end, we follow Linda, Jis, and Conrad as they flee. Jis expresses regret that she had no choice, so she's involved in something bigger than just a camp. We see Lucien already with Jocelyn, as if Lucien is also involved in something, so Linda would be a subject. We clearly see that Jocelyn is part of the organization on page 300. But who are they? And here's what you need to know about Chapter 1. Of course, some of you have already seen all this, but you should know that nothing is done at random in DC. And anything suspicious may be a clue. See you later for more revelations or Easter eggs. Thanks and goodbye.